Well, we had a neighbor. We lived way, way out, 100 miles from anyone. And we had a neighbor right next door to us. And he came over one day and handed both Gary and I the Urantia and the Concordex. He said, I think that I would like you to read this, and I think you'll find it interesting. So when Gary saw it, he said, honey, I've had this book before. Many years ago, his cousin Bonnie had gave it to him, and he had read it and had found it profound and went on his life. Well, then we stuck it on our headboard of our bed. It sat there probably a good 4 years, just always on the headboard. I'd pick it up, I'd dust it off, I would take it out, I'd look at it for a couple minutes, I'd put it back, and it just sat there. And then one day we had a real bad winter storm where we lived, and we couldn't get out. So I said, hey, this is a great time for us to take a look at that book. Let's either find out what it's about or get rid of it, because it's in the way. And so we got our hot coffee, and we went up to, we have this bedroom that he built for us, and it has an 18 prism skylight around it. And it was so cool. So it was snowing out, and we got the book and we started reading. Well, we went on doing that for like 3 solid days. Just from the time we got, I'd only fix meals, the kids were playing, would fix meals, and get right back to reading. Stay up as late as we could possibly read a line. And finally I said to him, okay, you know, I don't want to know who wrote this. But this is just way, way, way too, it's so brilliant that either someone is really demented and has figured out how to write this, or something's going on. So we looked up in the back of it, it was in the Concordex actually, it said Clyde Bedell. And I said, huh, okay, we finally found a person's name. So it was a Sunday afternoon, and we were up in our room, and the sky had just broke through blue, and it was coming through our window, a skylight. And Gary goes, well, go ahead, honey, see if you can find them. So I called San Francisco, because that's where the printing was from. And I got Clyde Bedell's, his son's, home phone number. Well, I didn't know who any of these people were at that time. So I called the home phone. It was a Sunday morning, and I get this really weird hello, and I go, hi, I have a book that is published by, and it says Clyde Bedell. And he goes, yes, really kind of suspicious. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. And I'm over here going, honey, he's really suspicious. Like this, because he was hesitant. I said, I'd like to know more about who wrote this. And he says, why do you want to know? I said, well, I have a neighbor of ours gave us this book and this Concordex, and we've been reading it, and it's so deep and so profound to us that we want to know who wrote this. We want to know, where does it originate from? And because we can't find any references, yet everything that we have learned in our lives and all the education pieces we've had have brought us to this place. And so I talked with him, what, 20?
Half hour probably.
Oh, it was great. And he, at the end of the conversation, I didn't get any answers, of course. He just said, just keep reading it. And he told us about the Urantia conference that was happening in Quebec that year, that he was going to be there. And we looked at each other and rolled our eyes. Okay, yeah, great. So we hung up the phone, and we kept reading. Well, at the same time that we hung up the phone, there was some clouds, and this is the most profound thing, and you know, he asked for like a message. I said, well, if this is really a message for us, something's going to happen. You know, what is the message? And right over our skylights coming in, and the prisms go up like this and across, and they come down. Starting in this prism, the clouds started forming a face. And I'm laying on the bed, because I was laying on the bed reading, and he was in a chair. And I'm watching this, I'm going, oh my gosh, Gary, you're not going to believe what I'm seeing. And right over the top of the main prism was a full face of Jesus. And our prism is as big as a king-size bed. And it just lingered right up over there, and the clouds kept moving, and it went down the other side, it dissipated. I said, okay, that's a sign. That's definitely some kind of sign.
Gary, you want to add anything to?
I know.
Yeah.
Because I do all the talking for us.
You want to add anything to that?
Well, she kind of skipped over the part about the first time the book was given to me in 1977. My cousin was reading it, Bonnie Coe, and I said, "What is this book?" And she said, "This book was written by some very smart people, and you're not ready for it." And that was my first encounter with ask and you shall receive. But when she did give it to me, she was right. It was just beyond comprehension for me. And little did I know that that book years later would come to cause me to rethink the entire world as I knew it. And it changed my perception of what true reality was. And in fact, it was the inspiration that I had been praying for, and direction, and the prayers, as I now know, always come in a different form than what we ask for.